Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co-author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Purdeep Sangha. Purdeep is the author and entrepreneur founder. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Purdeep Sangha. Purdeep, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Mohammed.
Thank you. You can call me Siddique if you like to.
Siddique, yeah, sure.
Okay, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Yeah, so basically, I grew up with very strong male figures in that family household. I had a great grandfather that was amazing. I had an amazing father who was amazing as well. But my father was a business owner, immigrated here from Canada from India with $11 in his pocket, worked hard like a lot of immigrants do, raised a successful family, also had a successful business, never struggled with money, but it took him a lot of hard work and effort and sheer will to get there because he didn't have any formal education. And along the way, basically, he struggled from alcoholism because he just lived his work and his family, but he just didn't have any other hobbies. And he had some internal challenges that I never really knew about and he wouldn't share. But long story short, my dad had a goal of hitting 65 years old. That's the pension age, right? And that's when he was going to take his foot off the gas and say, I did it. I came to this country with next to nothing. I built a business. I raised two good sons. They have their own families. And now as a family together, my brother's family, my parents, and then my family, we were all going to go travel once a year together. But my dad died from a sudden heart attack at 64 and a half. He died working by himself because of his alcoholism, led to diabetes and led to heart attack. So I see a lot of guys living that way in life today. And so the way my dad has lived, what he's taught me, his own personal challenges is what influences me every single day and why I do what I do. Because my goal and my mission is to help men live more successful lives, both in the business aspect, but also in the personal life. Because the one thing that keeps motivating me is, what if my dad had someone with my skills as a mentor or advisor by his side? Would that have changed his life? And how would it have changed his life?
What are the top 3 mistakes to avoid?
Well, I think the biggest thing is trying to do it alone. Because as much as we try to have that sense of pride to do things alone, it's challenging. So always have a good team. And I see your book that you have. Having a good team by your side is important. And so the first thing that I ever do whenever I'm looking to achieve something is say, who do I need on my team? The second thing in terms of avoiding mistakes is trying to have this constant goal of achieving, because when it ends up happening is a lot of people have these goals, they achieve, and then they're not satisfied. And so then they set a bigger goal and then they reach that goal and they're never satisfied. They forget that life is really about fulfillment. It's about living as you go. And I think when you do that effectively, you will actually perform better as well. So that's the second one. And the third one I would say is a lot of people are so consumed by work these days. And I see that as a big challenge. We have technology, we have all of these things that are going on, and it's supposed to give us more free time. But the more people I see, it seems like they have less free time. They have less enjoyment in life. So I think those are the things, because I'm a firm believer that we live this lifetime once in this form. So we might as well live it to the fullest. And if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to be a business owner, if you're going to be a high-performing person, don't forget that, because ultimately you have that one life. So you can achieve, but don't forget to enjoy your life at the same time.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
I would say my biggest failure story is in 2008, because I got hit hard from the real estate downturn, the financial crisis in 2008. And not that that itself was the failure. I had made some significant investments in real estate. But what ended up happening was, coming out of that, it took me a few years to recover, and I did. But then I became a little bit gun shy, and I didn't, you could say, invest in real estate as much as I could have at that time, because I was wary of my previous, you can say, challenges or failures that I had in 2008, the money that I had lost. So I avoided the market for a while. So the biggest mistake there was not overcoming that previous, you can say, not putting an end to those thoughts and those emotions and dealing with those, because it wasn't a failure. Had I learned from it effectively, I could have moved on and I should move forward a lot faster. So it's just getting back up on my feet faster, and I could have done that.
How did you recover from it?
Well, eventually I just had to deal with it. I just had to say, okay, why am I feeling this way? Because every decision that we make is based on some kind of underlying emotion. And a lot of those emotions are at an unconscious level. So having the experience that I do in neuroscience and psychology, I just eventually said, I got to deal with this myself. So I peeled back the layers and I said, what emotions am I dealing with? And I had to deal with it, and why. And then when I connected it and I said, okay, that was a mistake that, yes, it probably could have been avoided had I done more research, but that's okay, because this was something that I honestly had no clue that was going to happen. I just didn't see the risk. And so I had to accept that. And it was not playing the blame game and no judgment. And so exchanging judgment for being curious and learning.
What are your top 3 success secrets that others can model from?
Well, and here's the thing, because we take a lot of science. We have a big team that does scientific research. Right now, we have 24 people working on specific projects on motivation, decision-making, creativity, all these things. And what we figured out is the top 3 success secrets. Everything that we teach, everything that I work with, advise people on, is based on these 3 things. A, which is performance. If you want to get to where you want to be, you have to perform better. That means you have to learn how to make better decisions and how to up your skill level. Those are 2 things that are really important. The second thing is achievement. So the second element, the achievement framework, is really around having a clear goal in mind and a path to get there. Because if you don't have a goal, we have to remember our brain is actually a goal-driven organ. It locks onto a target. And if you don't give it a target and a clear target, it starts to create its own things. And a lot of times that's not good. It's not healthy. So having clear goals in your life and having a clear path is absolutely important. The third thing is fulfillment. And the fulfillment aspect is enjoying your life and not waiting until you achieve the goal to actually give yourself a pat on the back, or to enjoy, like, you know what, you can enjoy your life daily. You don't have to say, I'm going to work hard for the entire week and then take the weekend off and enjoy. You can enjoy your day as well. And the reason why that's so important is because fulfillment leads to more energy. And so it's a cycle. And when you have fulfillment, it goes back to performance. You have more energy, you perform better. If you perform better, you achieve more. If you achieve more, you get more fulfilled if you do it effectively. And that cycle continues and it's completed. The challenge is a lot of people bounce between performance and achievement, and they're never really fulfilled. Therefore, they lack the energy to actually perform better and achieve more.
We are about to get into lightning round. That means quick question and quick answer. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What are you grateful for today?
Definitely grateful for my family. They're not with me today. They're gone to their grandma's house. And so every time they're gone, I miss them quite a bit.
How young are you?
Well, I'm 41 years old. I can't believe it, but time flies.
41?
Yes, yeah, 41.
You are not 41 years old. You are 18 years old with 23 years experience.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, I like that. That's great. That's what I'll be using from now on.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
Well, I'm doing a lot of what I wanted to do, but my ultimate mission is in the next 5 years, when my kids get a little bit older, is to travel the world, take my family around and build animal shelters. I have a huge passion for animals and educate the public and build animal shelters for animal protection, and educate the next generation in terms of how important the environment and animals are.
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
Well, I welcome it, first of all. So the first thing is taking it as a learning opportunity. So every challenge that I come across, the first thing I ask is, how do I become better as a result of this? What can I learn as a result of this? And every time I do, it changes my mindset, and I actually do learn, and I get better as a result of it.
How do you start your day?
Well, I get up. The first few things I do is I drink warm water with chlorophyll, and then I meditate. And those are the 2 things that I do most often. And then I snuggle with my kids. because they're 8 years old and 6 years old, and they still allow me to crawl into bed with them. I have a boy and a girl, and I just spend about 15 minutes each, just telling them that I love them and snuggling, and that's their way of knowing that Dada loves them, and my way of getting my snuggles in as well.
What is the advice you will give to younger yourself?
I would say learn more from my elders. Obviously, we don't know when people are going to pass in our life. My dad passed suddenly. My grandparents passed sooner than I thought they would. So I wish I would have spent more time with them, learning from them. They had a wealth of knowledge, because you can't replace academic knowledge with years of wisdom. And I wish I would have spent more time doing that.
Once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
Well, I convince her by having certainty and confidence. So that's the most important thing, because if my wife, for example, sees that I'm questioning this idea, she's going to question it too. But if she sees that I'm totally confident, I'm certain, I have clarity about what I'm looking after or going after, then she has total faith in me. So that to me is the secret.
What's the impactful book you have read, and what did you learn from it? I want you to start with showing the book cover, please.
Yeah, so the first one is Psycho-Cybernetics. This is one of the ones that I read years ago, and I'm not going to ruin it for everybody, but it's by Maxwell Maltz. And it's around psychology. And it's about a book about this plastic surgeon that used to change people's physical appearance, but their mental and their behavior state was the same. So it tells you that there's a lot more to do with people's confidence, how they behave, than just their looks. And it's a real great book as well. The second one that you were asking about is basically the War of Art. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's by Stephen Pressfield, and it's a great book. It's actually probably my favorite book, and it's about resistance and people that have a talent or a skill, or artists, or have this mission in mind, and how we all come across resistance, and what that resistance means for us, and how important it is to keep pushing through.
I understand that you are the author of a book, The Complete Man, and every man wants to be complete, at least in their own belief. And how you end up in writing that book, and why someone should read that book.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wrote this in 2020, and it was a perfect year for me to write the book, because I was looking to write the book for a long time. It's a compilation of my years of experience in working with people, in coaching and advising professionals, some of the top professionals around the world, my own personal challenges as well, how I overcame them, but also the science behind how to be complete as a man, breaking some of the myths that we have about men in society and how men should be or not should be, because a lot of men are confused right now. So I wanted to give some clarity to men and give them some options, because it's not a one-way path. It's not, this is the golden ticket, but it gives them some greater clarity and greater knowledge to say, okay, now you have some more tools to work with to get to whatever you want to get to in life, whether it's have a better relationship, whether it's make more money, maybe it's to have better health, whatever it is that you want in your life. This is why I wrote this book, because it's a 360 view of how to be the complete man.
Why being impactful is important to you?
Well, I have two things, and I go back on our roots. I'm not a really religious person, but I understand the philosophy and the moral concepts of our religion, which is Sikhism. And there's two things that I really take to heart from that. One is Simran, which is looking from within, and everything that we need is from within, and learning from within. And the word Sikhism means to learn, to be a disciple of. But the other one is Seva, right? And that is important, which is selfless giving, helping others in need. And I think that's something that I grew up with. My parents demonstrated that. My grandfather taught me that since I was a young kid. So to me, giving to others is an important part of my life. And I believe if we all did that in life, our world would be a lot more, you can say, a better in a lot of ways.
Who is your mentor, and what's the impact?
Well, I have two mentors in my life that really, both of them, again, weren't, you can say extremely big influencers or these popular people. One was my grandfather, who was in the military for 3+ decades in India, taught me a lot about how to be a man, taught me a lot about spirituality. And then my father, who taught me about how to be masculine, but also how to be emotional and vulnerable. and the challenges that people go through in life, and that people aren't perfect.
Do you have any living mentor right now?
Yeah, I have a good friend of mine. His name is Jim, and Jim is a really great communicator. He's probably the best communicator I've ever met in my entire life. An influencer. He knows the psychology of how the mind works, and I've learned tons from him over the last decade.
What do you want to be remembered for?
I would say simply just being a good person. I think I want my kids to remember me as a father that loved them, that taught them how to be better people and how to give back to this world. That's truly what I want to be remembered by my family more than anything else.
Who is your ideal client?
So my ideal client are specifically men, because I work specifically with men. That's our niche. That's our expertise, who are entrepreneurs, executives, business owners, professionals, that are typically married or have a family, because we work in a complete, that's the whole concept of being complete. We work with them both on the business aspect of growing their business or making or advancing their careers, but also on the personal side, how to be the father that they want to be, how to be the husband that they want to be. So that's typically you can say, our ideal client.
How can we support you?
Well, I would just say share the message. I would love for you, I can give you a coupon code for the audience. Go to the website, purdeepsangha.com, and just go there and reach out to me. I'm more than happy to connect with you and have a conversation. If you have challenges, feel free, or just questions, I'm more than happy to answer those for you.
We are about to wrap up. I'd like to have your few words about your today's guest experience on the show. And here's my question. What would you say about your today's guest experience on the show?
Well, I would say it's great overall. It was very, I would say, very structured, which is always good for shows like that. Very informational, very pleasant, relationship oriented. I just want to thank you, because your questions are very thoughtful, and so it makes me think, but not too much where I'm getting stumped.
What would you say as the final word?
Well, my final word would be, I think, especially at this particular time in life, with COVID running rampant and all the challenges that we have in the world, is that, if we just help one person, whoever it is, whether it's our neighbor, someone that we love, a family member, every single day, I think we can just change the trajectory of where we've been over the last year very fast. So that's my ask, is to please just, as much as we're challenged and we're trying to protect ourselves and we're trying to protect our families, let's think of other people as well, because they definitely need our help.
Thank you so much, Purdeep, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.